So hi everybody and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 63 and in this video we continue with our game, and here is again my overview. We are here in the block of the gameplay, and in the block of gameplay we stopped in our last video with the block of this checkbox problem that was that where I used the actor component, and in this video I want to talk about a game instance. I hope you already know what a game instance is, but in our case it's very important to use it. Or let's say you will see why it can be important. Not that important, but it can be important to use it. And yeah, let's get into it. First of all, what is a game instance? Game instance, here I have the official site, a GameInstance. Here is a little description, and it says a game instance is a high-level manager. And you can see it will be spawned when the game is created, and it will run on its own, and there will be only one game instance for a whole game. So this is just this description here, but okay, what means this? What is the real meaning of this one? Let's see this in our game and try to understand it with our code. We have learned in the last video that we need to load and save data, which we have, for example, I have my score here, I have here, where is that? Here, game menu. Here, when I go to my load game, I can load here, where is that again? Game menu. Here I can load the game and then I can get there some data. For example, if I have clicked already the checkbox, that was what I explained in my last game, or my last score points. Here I have not implemented this one, but I can implement this too. Then I can get the last score points. I have to update this one, and the point is now here, all time when the score, for example, is changing, and for example in our game I will collect items, I get scores, or I will complete tasks and I get scores. All time this score must be noted, and it must be noted and saved when I stop the game or receive an endpoint or something like that. And or the other thing must also be saved, this checkbox, if I have clicked it or not, this must be saved. And in my last video was it that I said, okay, if this checkbox, for example, is checked, then I call this special function that was this checkbox check. Let me show you what this was so that you can see that what I make here, it's a little bit hard to explain without a visualization. Let's try this a little bit better. Here was my this not. Yeah, that was this checkbox. That was this checkbox, right? When I click here, this checkbox, then this checkbox calls a function. Here, checkbox clicked, on chain, it cast to the main menu, and here it called in game menu. This first is set, it is clicked, and then it calls the function in my game menu. In my case, this one here. And then it is saving that. You can see it creates here a save game object, and it takes this checkbox here, which comes from here. It is set here. We have set it here first. Then we can just get it, assign it, and save it to the slot. But this process, you can see, it's calling. We have to create a save game, and then we have to call the save game slot. And then when we have here something like the score is changing, then after I finish with this, all the scores, then I have call again. At this point here, again, something like this, I have get the save game object and then save it again to the same slot. And if I have here, let's say, many different kind of things which I want save, then I have here a big list, and the point is I call the save game slot many times during the game, and this can cause performance problems, right? This is not wrong, you can do this, so you can all time save it as a slot, because in the end we save all the data to the slot which we want reuse the next time we start the game again. Then we load all things from there. Here it's the load part, here is one possible save part, but you can see If we have too much to save during the game, that will cause problems for performance. Depends on the game. If you have a fast paced game, this can cause lags, because calling this slot here, we have open up here a file and then it saves in this file. Yes, that is performance problems. And to avoid this, they use, instead of just calling all time save game, they use this game instance. And now it makes a little bit more sense why it is called here high level manager, because instead of all time calling here save to slot, just save all the different changes. For example, the score is changing, you checked here the checkbox, and you have here other things to save, a million other things. Save all this to another object, and in our case it will be just a normal game instance object. And the game instance looks similar, when I open up this one, looks similar exactly to our save game object. Let's open up our save game object as well. I think it was here. I used here this actor component, but it looks, no, that was not the save game object. That's my actor component, but where is my save game object? Here it should be there. Let's open up this save game object, and you can see the actor component here, the game instance, looks not this one. Let's click this away. The game instance, which I already created, we make it in a moment, looks similar to our save game object, right? Normally they look identical. Why so? The question is why they should normally look identical. The reason is very simple. In the game instance, you save all the changes during the game without calling this, where is that? Without calling all time save to slot, because you want just, okay, update the variable here. Here I miss here one entry, which is, you can see the score. I need a score, should be here too. So let's call this one, I called GI for game instant, and let's call it score and make it an integer. And the symbol, it should look like this one here. Here it is save game SG, and here is game instance GI. And you can see they have exactly the same content. The only difference is how we use this. The game instance, like I said, during the game, instead all time calling this one, we call all time the game instance. So with other words, I need here the game instance, and this here, I save first here to the game instance, right? And game instance is not a call. It is a call, but it is not a call of a save game, which means we are open not a file and save it to a file, which is faster. This is just a in-game object, which is compared to this one very fast, and that's why you can make their different saves very smoothly. But very important, at the end, let's say you stop this one. All right, so you played your game, you have 1,000 changes and all time saved in your game instance, but in the end you need to save this game instance back to our save game. That's very important, which means we call this save game only one time when we finish the game, but we get now all the data not from separate places, because you can see here is this place where I checked the checkbox, then there is another place where I updated the score, and there are perhaps a million other places where I made other updates which I want save. All these cases are collected in the game instance, and then when we are finished, we get just this game instance here and call from the game instance this save slot. Also we make a save, but only one time, and with this game where is this again? With this game instance object, and that's so powerful, and that's why you will see in many projects you will see they use all game instances, because they save all their changes in this game instance. And at the end, when they really quit the game or want a save point, then they save it, because you can save for example, all your savings at a checkpoint, for example. That's also interesting. When you have a checkpoint during the game, you can call this game instance save now all the things at this point. or you can call the game's instance at the end of the game, where you say, okay, I quit the game, I will play later. And now I call from all the game instance should save now in the save slot. That's very important. And if you understand this, this is the whole thing why we need this game instance. And there is one more thing, very important. There are actually more things, but one very interesting point with game instance is game instance is still can still transfer all the data which you can use here, because you can save the data here in the game instance and you can reuse it again. Let's go here. Let's say I save here this checkpoint, not here in save it. I save it here in the game instance, but later I can use the game instance and call it again, right? Because it is just saved here temporarily in this game instance. And the important point is here, what I want to mention is this game instance works also if I make, and now comes the very important point, when I make a level change, and this is not happening normally. So in Unreal Engine 5, for example, if you have not a game instance, you are doing, let's say, I don't use a save game and I assign here values. For example, here you can see, let's say assign this one here. I load this game here. Here I load it. Here I assign this value from the load game. Here I update this variable, which is here. And this variable, let's say, becomes, it was default false. Let's say it becomes true. But if I change now my level, this value, which becomes here true, will be resetted to its original value, which is false here in this case. And here comes again the power of this game instance. The game instance, for example, we go back to this one. Let's say I load again at this point my game. I updated my variable, but this time I save it here in a game instance, right? I've saved it here, and then I change the level here. I change it, and then in the next level I call this variable not from here again, from the game instance, which means it keeps the save value in this game instance value which I have saved here. Normally this one is resetted in all other places. For example, this SK, or let's go to the main menu, all the values are resetted when you change levels. This save game, if you change levels, is not resetted if you have saved it here. That's very important. And that is here the meaning of a standalone game. Running as a standalone game means there is not connected here to anyhow to the thing what you are running here during the game. And that's very important because we make the use of it. That's why we can all time change here values. For example, let's say you are during the game, I get where I am. Let's say I get here again. That's not the place where I wanted. Game menu. Okay, whatever. I go here in it. So I say I load here something, and then later, let's say I want to use this checkbox in the next level. Like I said, then you can put it here, and this one will be not resetted. Important is if you understand this, then you understand game instance, which means you can use it all time. But important is also you have to use the game instance, because only the game instance will be not resetted. So if you try to change level and try to access now the game menu here in the next level, let me show you what I mean. Let's say I go here to main menu here. Okay, save selected, whatever. Now I change level, right? First was my main menu level, and now I'm here still in the main menu. Oops, sorry. Let's go here to the played level. Okay, that takes a little bit of time. Now I'm changing the level. And now I'm here in the play level. And you see, this has also here another game mode. But if I try now from this level here, let's say from game mode here, this one. Let's open up this game mode. Is this a game mode here? Oh, this was a character. Oops. This game mode here is here. Here, let's open this one up, and let's say I try now to access the game mode here. the main menu game mode. And let's say I want, you can see the game menu mode loaded here. It set this one, let's say, to true, because in my last game I have said don't show me the checkbox all time again. Let's say this is true. But the problem is, let's say I changed to the level and now I try to access the game mode from this here. With a call, you know, we can just create here a game mode reference. And then I say, okay, get me this value here, and this value will be again false. Even this was loaded as true. And this is the point where you create this game instance. Instead of calling this one here, you create this one here. Then you save this one in your game instance. And in the next level, let's say here, you say you want to access this checkbox here. Instead accessing it from here, you access this checkbox here from the game instance because you have saved it here. And here you have your original value, so which means the loaded value. For example, this one stays true, and like I said, even we change now the level, you see, I change a whole level, this one will stay this game instance, and that's the important part about the game instance. It will stay to true. The other one, this one here, will be resetted, because if I try from here, access it backwards to game menu, this one was loaded to true, but after changing level, reset it to false. That's very important to understand. And yes, so I talked here a lot, and now we have just to implement this. Let's see if I make this fast. So how to create a game instance, by the way, let's do this. Let's try this, make this fast. It's not very difficult. First of all, again, right click, new folder, call it. I called it just game instance because it's anyway just one. We need just one. Then you open this up, right click again. Then you go to the blueprint class here, and you can see it's one of the important class, I think. And I was wrong. It's not of the important class. Anyway, then you write here just game instance. Game instance. Yeah, here is it. And then you click this game instance. You create anyway one instance and select this one, the first one. You can see this other ones, I already created this one. And if you're wondering, hey, why are they listed here too? Of course, you can click them too. You can build up on them, but we are creating one from scratch, which means you create this. Then, like I said, you can open this game instance up, and here this game instance has exactly the same value like your save game, because in games instance you won't just save it temporarily during your game, and later you get all the values from here and save it in your save game when you finish your game or make a checkpoint, something like that. All right, so this one and this one should be the same. And there is one thing which is very important. After you created a game instance, right, we have now created this game instance. You have made it the same as like the save game object, all the values. And then you go here to the project settings, because that's also very important. You go here to edit, here to project settings. Then you click here maps and mobs, and you can maps and mods. And here you find here below the section game instance, and here you have select your created game instance, because this one will be used. And this is also the reason why you can change here the level, because it is like it says in the description, it's a high level manager. It's not the it's not related to your content. It is a standalone standalone running program here which you can use, and that's why we can change here the value. So you assign it here. You see I already assigned my here. It was called here in my game JE for game instance mega worm. This is this one. That's very important that you set this one here up. And with that set, you have created your game instance. And the last thing what you do now is all time when you load the game, for example, this is this section, we have now to load all the files which we want loaded in a game instance, right? So we have to load it here in a game instance. And how we can make this, let's make this. Right click first, get game instance. This is a standard node. You write here get game instance. This is general, this is, you can call it normally from everywhere. And then you cast it to your created game instance. So mine is called GI Megawarm. And then you write here GI, the name of your, and okay, not so. GI, and then you see it will cast to it. Cast means, yes, use my special instance here, because this game instance is general and we want to use especially my game instance, because there could be different kind of game instances here, but important is the project setting has specified which you want to use during the game. That's why the project setting was so important, and I want only use this one here. So you cast first to this one, and now very important, you can make here also a reference, by the way, like all time, because a reference is all time good to make. The reference means just if you need it in other places again. So I make it so you can click here from this blue node, right click like all time, promote to variable. This one will make a reference, and it says here SGI Megawarm. This is the name of your thing. I think the name is good. Compile, save. So we have now a reference. Interesting is this fail node. You can make here also a print statement, a debug statement just for text and for test purposes. This is just for test purposes to be sure if this is failed, whatever reason. And then you can say here game instance failed. Game instance failed. This is for test purposes, but we can keep this. I keep this. Let's write here 5 seconds, a little bit more on the screen instead of 2 seconds, so I can see it and not skip it if it's failed. This again just for test purposes. This is now the game instance which we created, and now the importance that comes, all the variables which we are loading. Like I said before, the game instance here, let's go in it. Here's the game instance, and my load save game. This is not this one. My, where is that other thing? My save game object, this one. And you can see this both are the same, which means I can assign now all the save game variables to my this. And that's I have to do now. Where I am. Here I have to do exactly that. Here I load it from my save game, which is, let's make it this way around. Here I load it, and now I assign it here to this one here. And how I'm going to assign this one, let's do this. Here you can grab this one, or of course now you can use also this one here and get the values which you have to assign. So in my case, because we can go here on, but of course we can use this one also. Let's make here a little bit room. And let's say I assign just only this checkbox for demonstration purposes, which means I get from the game instance. This is the game instance checkbox, not the save game, because I want to assign this one here. All right. So, oops, here. Then here, game instance checkbox. I write here checkbox. I should have it, and you can see I have it, and I have to set it. Important, you are setting this. Why we are setting this one? Because this one should be the value which we are loaded. That's why this is the loaded value. I get it from my load game, and which I have saved before. That's why I load it here, and now I set it here. And now I have the value here, which I wanted, and I can work with it, which means I can use this one. And I can use it, even I can change the level. For example, I change here from my main menu level to my gameplay, and this one, if I use this one, it is not resetted. That's why I make this all this stuff. All right, of course, normally you have here more values like score and whatever. Perhaps you have here other things, million other things. In many games you will see they are loading, updating it to the game instance, and then they are using here the game instance during the game. And this is very important to understand, because can help, but you have not to do it. But in many cases you should do it. Like I said, it is just for performance cases. And if you say if you have only one time save game like me, then perhaps it's not very worth it. But if you have many things to save, load during the game, then it is worth it, definitely. And very important is when you change level, then it is worth, because then this one would be called every changing level. There you have called this one, so this one is worth it. And then you can continue here just normal. Why I can continue just normal? The question is why I can, because after this point here, I can use now from from this point, I can use now my game instance, right? I have this game instance, I have saved the value, so when I need it again, I call it from here. Important is you have to call it from here. So don't call it again from here, or you can see I assigned a load game here to the value here, to this one. Then don't make the mistake to go back and call it from here again, from this main menu, because this one will be resetted in a level change. In my case, you are probably wondering, wait a minute, but you assigned the value after load game here and there was no problem because my code worked here without this one too. And the reason for that is very simple. I don't change level, because this load game, what I used, was used exactly in the same level. That was, you can see that was not used here in my gameplay. Let's go back fast. Let me show you this one as well. In my case, I used it here in main menu. That was just save selected, yes. You can see when I start my game, let's start it for test purposes. I make this new game, and after this one would come now the pre-story, right? After this one would come the pre-story, and you can see right now I have not changed level, and that's why this setup works without GameInstance here, what I have here. This one, I just loaded the level in main menu. I'm still in main menu, which means this one will work. Oops. This one will still work, but if I would change now here the level, this one here would never work. It will reset if I try to get it back. Alright, just as a info that not that you are wondering, hey, in your case it worked and you say now I have to use GameInstance. No, the GameInstance again is very important. If you change levels, it will you can save it here. It will not reset in the GameInstance value, and it is more there for if you want avoid this call here. That's very important. You are avoiding to call, open up file and slot it. So all time this here, this little filer, let me show you this one too. Again, right click, show in Explorer. Then here, saved game. So this is my saved game files. This file will be all time opened up and saved in here when we call, where is that? Here, this slot here. Save game to slot means only save it to here, which means open up here and save it here. And this is the problem when you have million things to save, that can cause performance issue, and that's why you can use, instead of this one, just use a save instance, game instance, game instance, and then save all during the game your changes, all time updated here, and then when you really need to save it, call the save game only one time here. After this one, when you are finished, you call it from the game instance, the save game. Instead of calling here, you can see separately in different places. I would call it here. I would call perhaps this score here later, also anywhere. All time, all the things, all the different places, you collect it here in the save instance object, and then you call it from there, and it will be easy. Let's continue. I think you understand this, and it depends if you make it or not. Many programmers in Unreal Engine, you will see they have almost all a game instance in it, but again, you don't have to need it, because what you really need is this save and load game, and the game instance makes your life easy, especially when you make a level change. All right, and then let's continue. So I saved here now with the file, but important is also the call. And now, okay, I have created a game instance. I have saved now the loaded file in this game instance. And now let's say this one I can change during the file. I can assign this, reassign this, for example here. Let's try to change this one as well. So how I can change this one here, you can see the checkbox was clicked, and then I create the save game object, and this one I have to skip now, because this whole thing here is the place where I click the checkbox, and instead of, like I said before, instead calling now the whole save game here, I want save it just in the save game instance. Again, here I skip now the whole part. The thing what I do is just get this game instance here. It's nice because it's in the same place. Normally you would get this anyhow, but here it's same place. And then I say, because this is the thing which I want save now, and this one is checked, right? So create save game object, set, and here this one is set. This one is originally set, which means I can get it from checkbox don't set. This was updated here, get, and now I set it in my save game instance, and it's called also check. And again, it's here as set, and set it with this value here, which I get from here. All right, and then I connect this one. And this is that what you have to do. This is just getting the game instance. This is just this one here. And this one is the update here. So this one was changed here, saved, and later I can use. So instead of doing this, I did this. But like I said, this is just during the game. You are coming to the point where you want to stop the game. And when you stop the game, then you have to call it. Let's say this is not the place where you stop, then you do nothing here, because here you just saved it. That's it. This code is finished here, if this is not the stop place of your game. So you have to check where you stop the game. So for example, when I start my game, first let's compile all things. There was something not compiled. All right, anyway, let's say I start here my game again. Let's say I quit. When I press quit is a stop the game, then I won't save it. This is a place, for example. Or let's say there is a unintentional quit. You can make an unintentional quit where, let's say, anything is, I don't know, it's crashed, and then you can try to make a save too, but I think a crash will not work. Most time there is an exception thrown, cannot work. But normally what you do is there could be an option save instead of quit. There could, instead of load, there could be one more option, save the game. So when I start here a new game, here, let's go in. I think we have not made this. I have to do this as well. Let's start the game here a little bit. Let's see. Let me show you this as well. Let's see if so here is the game. I press ESC and can go exit to main menu, new game, resume game, quit game. I have not save game here. So here you could make here one more option, save game, but I integrated also the save game. In my case, I integrated it here in quit game, which is not very user friendly, because how the hell the user should know that quit game is also save game? So I should change this menu here, but you can make here also save game. Just for demonstration purposes, you have to find, in our case, this endpoint. And the important part is now, all time when you are changing values, you just need this one. Get the value, save it in a game instance here. Here the same thing. Here is the load part. This is a special part, because when you load it, you need to update your game instance, because you won't use it during the game with the loaded values from your last game. That's why this is a special part. But during the game, all time when you change it here, let's say here in load, let's say you have here anywhere else points, then you would make here also call the points and then update it, write it here in the save game object, update it, write it in the save game object. And then when you go to this quit game part, then you save it. So you don't have to call all this long place. I think you understand this. If not, don't worry, it's not too difficult. You can figure it out. In my case, here I have now just to find the end place. This we can skip. This is the code is important that you just understand. Make a game instance for using it during the game with level changes, because this save game instance here, it will be not resetted. And important is you cannot just assign value to it during the upgrade. You can get it later. For example, let's show this answer. Let's make a custom event, and let's say get me scores just for fun. Get me scores, and this scores I want to the updated scores during the level, not the loaded one, because the loaded are only the values from the last save game. During the game, let's say the scores change, but all the changes I saved here my save game object, and now I can just get the save game object here. You can see I can make this one get, and now instead of setting, I just get the scores. I have score here, get GE score if I have set them, and now I can get them, and then after I get them, I can assign them, or I can print them. For example, print string. Let's make here a print string. Just fun, and then assign this just for fun. Of course, if their scores are many, perhaps you make a loop or something, but you can see what I only want to show you here is it's not just setting it. You can during the game just get the values, because that's why we need this game instant. Just get it, set it during the game, and if you come to the last point, you save this game instance. If you are at the start point like here, then you load the save game and assign them all to the game instance. So the game instance is the object which you use during the game. So, and that's why here, back to this description, that's why it's called a high level manager, because it manages during the game. You put the variables in, you get the variables, you can do whatever, and after the game you are saving this in the slot. Because the save game object here itself, you are not using it, only start and at the end or at the save points. And all during the game you use normally the game instance. Alright, I hope you understand this code a little bit. If not, don't worry, it's you will not you can still manage it without, but I think you should try to learn it. Very helpful, makes life easy and comfortable. And with that said, I stop this video here and see you in the next video, where I continue with the story, I think, because now we need a little bit gameplay story, because collecting items and then see how the story is. Yeah, I have to go to the finish line anyhow. All right, with that said, if you have any questions, any comments, write it all like old time in the comment section. See you in the next video, and like old time, have fun and never give up, and bye.